Good evening, you're watching Breaking Today News right here on Switch TV. I am Lincoln Wambogo. Our sign language interpreter is Tracy Dorcas. We have a lot in line for you tonight, but first let's take a look at the headlines. 1.1 million Form 1 students join high school amid a surge in COVID-19 cases. ODM leader Raila Odinga continues to rubbish Deputy President William Ruto's bottom-up economic model as he takes his vote-hunting mission to Kisii. Moroccan Sofiane El Bakkali breaks Kenya's dominance in the 3,000 meters steeplechase race at the Tokyo Olympic Games. Glad you're watching. Send in your feedback and comments to our SMS line 111 Switch TV Kenya, and all our social media handles, and at Lincoln Wambogo. Our 30 minutes of the broadcast begins now. The 2020 KCPE candidates have today reported to different schools across the country to make the transition from primary school. The 1.1 million learners are expected to join their various schools at a time when the country is battling the deadly coronavirus, posing huge challenges to parents in raising fees for their children.
Admit a learner in the system who has not physically reported to the school.
Exactly 3 months after the Ministry of Education announced the 2020 KCPE results, the approximated 1.9 million candidates who received their 2020 scores are now set to begin their new phase of learning to mark the beginning of the 2021 academic calendar after the shuffling and reshuffling of the learning seasons that has brought with it a huge confusion.
Zikuwe considerate kidogo. Juu kama sasa tumelipa uniform peke yake ni 25,000. Na kama watu wanatoka hii period ya COVID, hawana pesa.
It is not only the parents who have the confusion, even ourselves, the administrators, psychologically, you know, you're used to doing things in a certain way.
Today, marking the beginning of the transition phase, students across the country reported in their respective schools ready for admission to commence their 4-year learning process.
We are quite on course with the 100% transition. Placement, of course, is one thing, reporting to school is another, but one step has to follow the other. And we are very happy then that we are on course with the 100% transition policy.
The biggest challenge of the moment being the deadly coronavirus, concerns arising on the preparedness of schools at a time when COVID-19 wave is stretching and cases are surging by day.
It is part of our school rules now. We formed what we call the COVID rules, which you can see even on the notice board here, that we have COVID rules. And one of the COVID rules is that the students must remain their masks. And for us to even identify who is not wearing a mask, our students don't wear the same color of masks.
The Ministry of Education from its end has stood firm that all learners must be admitted to schools, adding that excuse should not be given at all costs concerning the education of learners, further warning school heads from violating the ministry's set rules and regulations. Today marks the beginning of a 4-year struggle for the 1.1 million students who sat their KCPE examination year 2020 to sew in books, if at all the 100% transition will be achieved as anticipated by the government. Robert Ouma, Switch TV, Nairobi.
Thank you, Robert Ouma. Meanwhile, as learners in the country embark on a new journey to mark the beginning of a new era in high school, many still lack the resources to join secondary school due to the current economic hurdles. Our reporter Rachel Nduarte interacted with a family whose hopes have been shattered as their daughter's dream to join high school were curtailed due to lack of finances.
It is a beehive of activities in different parts of the country as over 1 million learners join Form 1 today. But for others, staying at home might be the only option. It is at this home that we meet Pauline, a guardian to one Edna Kathomi, who was called to join Huruma Girls High School. However, due to lack of finances, she is unable to report to Form 1 today.
Personally, I feel bad because it's not fair that others are going to school and I'm not going just because nimekosa school fees and someone out there can help me.
Edna is an orphan whose mother died when she was barely 2 years old. Her aunt, who became her legal guardian, ended up raising her.
I would like to be successful. This woman, my aunt, has taken good care of me, so I want to make her happy, make her proud. I want to pass, have my career, success, yeah, and help her out.
However, life took its turn when on the 23rd of July, Edna's guardian Pauline lost her mother and husband in the same week, so she became the sole breadwinner for the family.
Sina namna yoyote sababu mtoto anataka kuingia shule, wanafaa kuingia kuanzia kesho, hakuna kitu nimefanya, hakuna pesa na mtoto akuili kabisa kwenda. Sasa yeye ameanza kupatwa na stress sababu ajui ataanza wapi, mimi sijui nitaanza wapi ama wapi sababu hakuna pesa kabisa ya kusomesha huyo mtoto na anapenda shule kabisa.
According to this list of requirements, the total budget needed to help Edna join Huruma Girls High School is over 100,000 shillings, an amount the Guardian says is difficult for her to raise. With the current harsh economic times and COVID-19 pandemic, many have expressed struggling in getting finances to send their children to school.
For a girl like Edna, who is 14 years old and dreams of becoming a neurosurgeon, her dream could be curtailed in the event that she doesn't get the affordable financial resources. Reporting for Switch TV, my name is Rachel Ndwati.
Thank you, Rachel Ndwati. There is always a silver lining in every dark cloud. Trade Cabinet Secretary Betty Maina has announced today that the government is aiming at rolling out mass vaccination with 30 million vaccines expected in the country this month. This comes as a reprieve to micro, small and medium enterprises that have been affected the most by the effects of the pandemic. Flora Limuki narrates.
The Cabinet Secretary for Trade and Industrialization, Betty Maina, has said that mass vaccination is the only means to contain the virus in the business sector in an effort to keep the economy abreast. Kenya has lost more than 3,900 people since the onset of COVID-19, people who could potentially be suppliers and entrepreneurs.
We in the Ministry of Industrialization are really saddened by the loss of more than 3,900 Kenyans so far to the pandemic. These are not just statistics. There are people who could have been potential industrialists. There are people who could have been suppliers. There were entrepreneurs, could be transporters and customers. So this is really sad for the country.
Micro, small and medium enterprises have been affected the most by the effects of the pandemic, especially with the government restrictions on COVID-19. Following this, the government, in partnership with the private sector, that is Kenya Private Sector Alliance, KEPSA, is set to receive 30 million doses of vaccines this month from partners.
We have also reported that the government has ordered more than 30 million doses of vaccines into the country, and we expect that in August.
We would like to thank the government where they've allowed private sector to work hand in hand with them to actually buy vaccines. And we currently have committed to 1 million vaccines as private sector, where we are working with government, where they will purchase on our behalf. And we have also committed to help them roll out and sort of build our herd immunity.
At the same time, Betty Maina has also urged the business community to adhere to the stringent measures put in place by the Ministry of Health to ensure that business centers do not become the avenues for the spread of coronavirus.
It is the need for business owners to put in place measures to ensure that there is no crowding, even if it is the market, that there is spaces for hygiene, for cleaning hands, that there is demand for wearing masks by all the customers as well as all the operators in this establishment.
As the Delta variant spreads across the country, business owners have been urged to adhere to the protocols set in place by the Ministry of Health in a bid to curb the spread of this virus. Flora Limuki, Switch TV, Nairobi.
Thank you, Flora Limuki. Kimilili Member of Parliament Didymus Barasa has been released on a 100,000 shillings bond. This is after he was arrested today morning at his Kimilili home after he allegedly assaulted Stephen Misinde, a contractor cum musician. Barasa has dismissed the claims, terming them a political witch hunt. COVID-19 restrictions were thrown out of the window as he addressed his supporters. Namukini Samuel reports.
Kimilili Member of Parliament Didymus Barasa has dismissed his court case as a political witch hunt. While speaking outside the Kimilili law courts, where he appeared before magistrates, the lawmaker linked the case to the 2022 general election. Didmas, was released on a 100,000 shillings bond. The charge sheet stated that on July 30th, at Lulare Baptist Primary School in Kimilili Sub-County, Barasa unlawfully did grievous harm to Stephen Wekesa Masindi, a contractor cum musician. The MP was arrested at his home today morning by police officers following a complaint by the contractor Masinde. Barasa is said to have attacked the contractor when he learned that classrooms he was supposed to launch at the school were locked. The MP had just cut the tape and was about to open one of the classrooms when he discovered it had a padlock. COVID-19 restrictions were thrown out of the window as he addressed his supporters. Political rallies seem to be back as different political outfits rally voters ahead of 2022 general elections, just a few days after the LCA's Mutahi Kagwe banned all political rallies. Masinde now wants the DCI to expedite the probe into the incident and bring the MP and his bodyguards to book. The case is slated for September 27th. Namukana Samuel, Switch TV.
Thank you, Mukini Samuel. Police officers invaded the Law Society of Kenya headquarters in Gitanga Road, Nairobi today. LSK President Nelson Havi has confirmed. According to Havi, the OCS is constantly sent to police officers, the LSK offices, under strange circumstances. In a series of videos, the LSK president is seen challenging the officers, asking them to leave the premises. They, however, rejected to evacuate, claiming that they are performing their task. Havi said the officers halted them from holding a meeting after allegedly locking up one of the boardrooms. Havi has now called on the Inspector General of Police, Hilary Mutyambai, to keep the police in check.
Please. This is a private. Look, what did you say the name was?
Elsewhere, ODM leader Raila Odinga has expressed confidence that he has the backing of the regions with massive votes that could see him clinch the top seat come 2022. Odinga and his allies have also rubbished William Ruto's bottom-up economic model, saying that Kenyans do not need handouts. Our senior political reporter Joel Chacha with more.
Exactly 1 year to the general elections, the scramble for vote-rich regions is on top-notch, with those eyeing the top seat making inroads to the regions. This is popular in the regions that will determine the fifth president of Kenya.
Kutoka pwani tutaenda kaskazini mashariki, alafu mashariki, bonde la ufa, alafu milima. Tunapunda kutoka Kisii, bado tutapanda na milima hili. Alafu baadaye sasa itakuwa ni sauti ya Wakenya inaongea. Sauti ya mabadiliko inaongea.
ODM leaders have continued to castigate Deputy President William Ruto's bottom-up approach, stating that the philosophy is misplaced and unrelatable.
Wache hii mambo ya propaganda na porojo. Sasa fungua huko chini. Tuone vile kufanya kazi na wewe. Sasa weka juu kabisa. Tufurahi zaidi. Mmoja anasema ati tutaweka shilingi bilioni 30 ati kusaidia watu. Hiyo ni handout economy. Kenya do not need handout.
They further accuse Ruto of trying to fraud Kenyans with the model, yet he has been in presidency for nearly 10 years now.
We have tried several means as Kisii people kukua sehemu tofauti. Tumejaribu sana kuwa pamoja. Wakati wa 2007 we voted for ODM to the last man and we lost. 2013 we voted ODM to the last man and we lost. 2017 we voted again ODM 60% and we lost. My friend, we can't again vote for a losing or a falling ship again. There is a history of failure and losing. hatuwezi enda hapo tena hiyo wakati mwingine.
Najua sisi tunajua hii maneno yote. Na Bagusi wanajua mahali tunaenda kama nchi. Na kuna ile tsunami ambayo inajipanga. Watu wanakuja pamoja, baba anaunda na anaunda na anaunda. Na itaanza mwendo. Sisi watu wa Nyanza tutazungumza wiki ijayo.
With 3 weeks to the BBI ruling by the appellate court, the leaders still cling to hope of successfully pushing for the constitutional changes through a referendum before the 2022 general elections.
Hata Moi alikuwa amejaribu kutusimamisha, it was impossible. Raila amepambana na Moi na kila mtu. So I mean, who can stop Reggae? Who? Nobody. Who can stop Reggae? I can tell you, this journey is going to continue until next year. And we are not even talking about the elections because, you know, there are some people who should have been doing their job. They have forgotten about the job. I'm just talking about the elections. But Reggae shall continue.
The leaders were speaking during a final farewell in Kisii County for Jane Bosire, the late wife of ODM National Treasurer Timothy Bosire. Joel Chacha, Switch TV, Nairobi.
With our story by Joel Chacha from Kisii County, we now take a short commercial break. Stay tuned. We'll be back with more. Welcome back and thank you for keeping it Switch TV. On this week's episode of Know Your CEO, we get to interact with Username Investment Limited CEO Reuben Kimani, who despite the harsh economic times propelled his company from making 20 million shillings to 500 million shillings in less than 3 years. Take a look. Ever want to know how a CEO sees his wealth? Then here's how. Apart from running an organization and strategizing, their key role is to ensure there is money in the bank. Our CEO this week is Reuben Kimani, the co-founder and CEO of Username Investment Limited, a leading real estate company in Kenya. Under his leadership, Reuben and Username have bagged several awards, the most recent one being the most impactful real estate company of the year in Kenya. Reuben, thank you for creating time.
Thank you, Link, for giving me this opportunity to come to your show. Glad to be here.
It's good to have you, Reuben.
Yes,
now, maybe
yes.
to quickly start off, Username. Tell me about Username from inception.
Username is, some people call it password. I know the viewer is asking such questions.
Because you have username and password.
Username and password, right? Password, everyone has a password, right? Username is 7 going to 8 years old. A company that was formed by 3 directors. We are friends. One of the directors used to be in school with me. We came as a result of looking at our pay slips and realizing there's an opportunity in the real estate sector. Personally, I was passionate about architecture, having done computer engineering in school. I was passionate about it, but when we came together, looked at our pay slip, we were earning above average salaries. Then you ask ourselves, how many people who are young like us? I was 29 by then, 30. How many people are like us who can not afford the millions shilling property that are being offered?
Reuben, an engineer, IT expert, how easy or hard was it for you to become a businessman? How was that transition for you?
I knew from the beginning. I've done, I've been a cobbler, repairing of shoes. I've sold cabbages. I'm someone who has been socialized into business from an early age. And finally, I decided to quit after 5 years in Safaricom. That was my last posting. So for me, it was not such a difficult decision to make, but it becomes difficult when you lose the 5-figure salary or 6-figure that you're earning, and you don't have something for rent. You don't know how you'll be getting money, and now you are just jumping ship to another vessel.
Do you have fears?
Oh, definitely, man. I remember I wrote a resignation letter that stayed in my inbox, Outlook, for 2 months. Unaiangalia kila siku. You keep looking.
Username afloat.
We met just after COVID came. That was in March, and we were scared. We thought we would maybe stop the business altogether. We were scared, but then we said, there's a silver lining even in every challenge. Challenges are important, I would say that. There's a silver lining if you look clearly. Then we said we can try, you see, like, business is about trying, even life. You try things, you see whether we can try some things that we think can work. And then we said for customers, bank were offering moratoriums. We said for our customers, we'll give them 3 months. If you're not able to pay, we'll give you 3 months break. Then you'll be able to come back on case-to-case basis.
Reuben, away from the serious stuff, let me actually unbutton. It's time for quickfire. Now we get to know a bit more about Reuben Kimani. It's your time to button. It's my time to unbutton. Reuben, this is quickfire. Demystify one myth about real estate.
One thing that people know, even in the street today, tell me about real estate. They'll pay someone will con, or someone will, in the street language, they say atakutoa viatu.
Atakutoa viatu.
It's a con game, right? It is not.
If you were to buy land, what procedures would you follow?
The first and most important thing is due diligence. Of course, you start with budget. How much? I'm waiting for X8.
X8?
Yes.
Are you in a boys' club?
Of course, yes.
What do you do in that boys' club?
Well, one of the things about, of course, is encouragement, and of course, we do a lot of fitness. By then, that is the binding factor, fitness. It sets you the mood for the day, especially in the morning. Number 2, I like movies, of course, entertaining myself. And of course, I like going out.
What is the craziest, most expensive thing you've ever bought?
That is a setup. I'm a gadgets kind of a guy, as you'd expect. I think my gadgets are the most expensive thing.
Are you a spendthrift or are you a saver?